backgammongalaxy.com.
What's up, Backgammon fans? This is Marc Olsen from Backgammon Galaxy. In this video, we're gonna do a quiz, which is always fun. A big shout out to Phil Simborg, because he's actually the creator of this splits. He came up with these 10 positions. So thank you, Phil, for letting us use this content, and we're gonna make a cool video out of it. So the quiz consists of 10 problems. We call it the golden point quiz because typically the dilemma is whether we make the 5 point, the 20 point, or perhaps we should hit. That's the question that we're facing in these positions. If you get 10 out of 10, you can consider yourself as a super grandmaster. This is very, very difficult because this is not an easy quiz. 8 or 9 out of 10, grandmaster level. By the way, I personally got 8 out of 10 in this quiz. 6 or 7, you are at an expert level. 4 or 5, you are definitely an experienced player, but there's room for a little bit of improvement. 0 to 3, well, you're probably not as experienced yet, and you could probably do very well by reading a backgammon book or two and improving your strategic and tactical understanding a bit. Okay, more information about the quiz. All the positions are money game, some people call it unlimited game, but I like to call it money game, which means that the score is neutral. The pip count is visible, so remember to check out the pip count here. It's in the bottom and top right corners. You get 30 seconds per position. If you need more time, it's okay to pause the YouTube video, but do your best to stick within the 30 seconds. And now is the time to pause the video and go get yourself a piece of paper and a pen to note your results and your answers. You can also just use the note function on your smartphone. Whatever way you prefer, there's no right or wrong. We're gonna go through all 10 positions first. You can submit your answers in the comment section, and then we're gonna go through each and one of them to see if you got them right or wrong. And I'm gonna be doing my analysis on each of the 10 positions. If you disagree with or have anything additional to add to my analysis, please leave it in the comment section. That's always interesting to hear. Okay, guys, without further ado, are you ready to get into the quiz? Oh, one more thing, guys. Remember to like and subscribe the video if you like the content. It's going to help us grow. You can follow us on Instagram, my personal Instagram, Marc Olsen 10, Backgammon Galaxy Instagram, and of course our Backgammon Galaxy Facebook page and all the groups that we have on Facebook. Okay, guys, let's get to it. Are you ready? Position number 1. Okay, let's start the timer here and go. Okay, time is up. Let's get to position number 2. Are we ready? And go. Okay, time is up. Position number 3 coming right up. Ready, go. And time is up. Position number 4 coming right up. Ready and go. Time is up. Position number 5. Ready and go. And time is up. We're halfway through. Position number 6. Go. Time is up. Let's go to position number 7. Ready and go. Time is up. Position number 8 coming right up. And now green is sitting on the bar. And go. Time is up. Get ready for position number 9 and go. Time is up and get ready for the final position, position number 10 and go. And time is up. All 10 positions, you've now seen them all. I hope that you noted your answers to all of them. And if you want to hear the results, you got to stay tuned. We're going to go through the positions one by one. So let's just shift the view here to extreme gammon here, and then I'm going to go back to normal. Okay, position number 1. The best play here. Okay, so here we basically have 2 choices, and the best play is to make the 20 point. This play. And why is this better in this position? Well, this is a dilemma that comes up often. Obviously, they're not that far apart in equity, but the problem with making the 5 point here, let's see the resulting position here. So what do I notice about this position? Well, I notice that my efficiency is not super good because I still have a stack on the 5 point or on the 6 point, and I have a stripped 8 point. So this is, I mean, it's good structure, but the efficiency and flexibility is not super. I also noticed that my opponent has a lot of good rolls in this position, because he's gonna make an advanced anchor with 6-5, with 3-2, and with 2-1. So that's already 6 good numbers. Then we have all of the point making numbers over here, which are actually all of Green's numbers except for 3-2 and 5-1. He can make some sort of good developing move over here that develops his prime or goes for the blitz attack. So by this making the 5 point, even though the race is very close, we're actually giving a lot of good rolls to our opponent. So let's have a look at the best play here. It's slightly better. Here we basically eliminate all of the priming rolls and all of the blitzing rolls for the opponent. However, we give him something like, how many is it? It's 12 shots here to hit our checker on the 9 point. Of course, it's not devastating to get hit, but it's annoying. We don't want to lose ground in the race. So basically, we remove all of his prime developing numbers, and we give him 12 good numbers to hit us. Notice also that 4-3 is duplicated. That's a hitting number, but it's also probably the best anchor making number. Again, very close here. The race is very close, so I don't really see any clear game plan advantage. Actually, I made a little note here. This is what I'm going to be focusing on in this quiz. Strategically, I'm going to be looking at the race and timing. So this really helps me to determine my game plan. And then I ask myself, who has an advantage in a priming battle? So for instance, in this position here, I would say we have an advantage in a priming battle in either place, but not a big advantage because the race is very close. We're actually leading 3 pips, so you could argue that he has a little bit better timing, but it's very close. And he has some structure as well, and he's going to develop. So it's not a big advantage we have here after this play. And after the best play, if in terms of a priming advantage, we have the advantage of making an advanced anchor, which means we can't get prime. So yeah, that's how I see it. Then I look at the concept of efficiency. So that's, for instance, that's the problem by making the 5 point here. It's not super efficient use of checkers because we still have that stack on the 6 point. And then, of course, we look at tactics. We always try to minimize the opponent's good rolls. So tactics, try to minimize the amount of good rolls your opponent has. So that's kind of like the things that I'm looking at in this position here, these positions here. This was a very close one, so it's kind of bad luck if you got this one wrong. Don't be too hard on yourself because it was tricky. Okay. So let's, and by the way, it's binary. It's either you get 1 point for a correct answer or you get 0 points. Let's go to position number 2. Okay, so now all that happened was that Green's checkers slided up to the 3 point instead of the 2 point. This actually makes it very easy because we don't want to leave a direct shot here from the 3 point in direct range. So now it's an easy choice. We should definitely make the 5 point and avoid leaving any direct shots on our own side of the board. It was already close in the previous position, so now it's not really close anymore. It's a pretty clear play. Okay, let's move on to position number 3. Okay, so here it's super close. The best play, I believe actually in the rollout, because Phil Simborg made rollouts. Let me just check. Okay, so in the rollout, this was not as close actually. The making the 20 point was clearly the best play according to the Extreme Gammon rollout. It became actually half a blunder to make the 5 point here. So that's interesting that XG++ evaluates it to be so close when the rollout says that making the anchor is actually clearly the better play. So that is, you get 1 point if you make the anchor, 0 point for the rest. But what's going on here? Why is making the anchor so much better than making the 5 point? Because there are a couple of contradicting concepts going on here. So first thing I want to say or mention is that whenever you have the opportunity to make 3 out of 4 points, 3 out of the 4 best points in your home board, you should typically do it, because the structure that you gain is a great improvement. Like white's front position just improved tremendously by making the 5 point. So that is a concept that leads us, or an idea that leads us to make the 5 point. However, what's the race here? That's very important for our game plan. We are ahead 3 pips before the move. That means we're going to be up 10 pips after the move. This clearly indicates that we do not want to go into a priming battle, because we could actually lose a priming battle after we make the 5 point, this play. Even though we have an advantage in a priming battle because we have a stronger structure and we have split back checkers, we could lose the priming battle because our opponent actually has better timing. He's down 10 pips and his checkers are more backloaded than ours. So we might end up crunching here in a priming battle. Also, when we're up in the race, we want to give ourselves the opportunity to run if we roll a big double. So it's better to just make the 20 point and be launch ready. Whenever we roll double 5, double 6s, we are going to be way out of there and we're going to win the game by racing. Of course, it's also good from a defensive point of view to make the golden point, because you eliminate all the priming and blitzing value of your opponent. But really, the key factor here is the race. If you're down in the race, you want to prime. If you're ahead in the race, you want to race. So that's actually what we see here. And it's that interplay between race value, between racing and timing. That's two counteracting forces in backgammon. Okay, let's move on to position number 4. Here we have a very clear winner. You should definitely hit. It's not even close. So I actually just made the process of elimination here. You know what? There's one more thing I want to say first. Hitting is the default play. When in doubt, hit. That's a very, very good rule of thumb. Like if we have a hit, outfield hit available to us, we need to do something really, really strong if we don't want to make the hit. That's basically just the way it is. The default play is to hit. So I'm trying to just exhaust all the possibilities here, and if I can't find any exceptions to that rule, I'm just going to hit. But let's have a look at the worst play, which is to make the anchor first. So that looks like this. Look at how many good rolls we give our opponent here. He can roll a 6 to make an even better anchor than ours and come into a very, very close mutual holding game. He can roll a deuce and send us back in the race. Or he could roll a 4 that just makes a blocking point. Or he can just roll a 5 that runs one of his back checkers. Or he can roll, I don't know. He has so many good rolls here. He can roll a 5-1 that comes out to make the anchor. 2-4 to come out and make the anchor. I don't know, maybe 2 is going to hit. I don't know if you hit with 2-4. Anyway, it's a good roll. So here you give your opponent way too many good rolls. Also, you have the better inner board. So why are you playing safe? Okay, let's go to the second best play, which is also a blunder, but not a double blunder. Making the 5 point. That looks like this. I just told you in the previous position that whenever you can make 3 out of 4 of your best inner board points, you should usually do it, because the structural gain is so huge from going from 2 points to 3 points. And by the way, this structure here with the best 3 points made, we call this the rack, because the rack is a torture to play against. Shout out to Bill Roberti. It's just a super powerful structure. So this is a worthy alternative. But again, we have the same problem. 6s plus 1-5 plus 2-4 makes the anchor. And we have all of these prime developing moves available because of that active builder on the 9 point. So we're giving a lot of good rolls to the opponent here, where he can kind of catch up in the game. Let's have a look at the hit. It looks like this. First of all, you have a stronger inner board. That's already a clear indication that you should hit. Now you got a decisive pip lead, 22 pips, another decisive factor that you should hit. And here, how many good rolls does our opponent have here? Well, he can come in and hit this one. That would be a good roll for him. That would be 5-4, 6-3, and then a deuce combined with a 5, 3, 2, or 1. Then you could also hit over here, but that's not as dangerous. I mean, it's still on his side of the board. We don't lose too much ground in the race here. Then he has 4 out of 36 dancing numbers. Those would be tremendous. I think it might be a double pass, actually. After that sequence, if if it's not a pass, at least at least you have a super powerful position after you cube. Yeah, and he has some awkward numbers here as well. Like look at a 1-5, for instance. He comes in on the ace and then he plays safe. He could roll like a, even if he rolls something semi-good, like let's say he rolls like a 2-6, then he comes in and he makes the anger, but you're still trapping this guy, and you still have a big racing lead, and you also escaped a back checker in the process of hitting, which is important when your game plan is to race. So all in all, this position here, the best play is to just make the default play, send him on the bar, escape a back checker, and that's actually just that. Okay, let's go to position number 5. The best play here. This one was, I mean, again, we see some conflicting things here because this one is a little bit more tricky. First conflicting theme is that when you have multiple back checkers, one of your main priorities is to establish an advanced anchor. And we can do that here. We can make the golden point, which is such a good thing to do when you have 3 back checkers like this. However, look at the pip count. We're down 10 pips. We're going to be down 3 pips after the move, which means that if we can get him into a priming battle, we will have the better timing for the prime battle. When we're down in the race, we want to prime. When we're ahead in the race, we want to run. When our opponent is still trapped all the way down on the ace point, it's very easy to prime him. So those strategic factors here points to the direction of making our 5 point and simply just inviting him into a priming battle. Of course, making the 20 point is also a super good, super strong thing to do, but you're down in the race. So what if you roll like a 5-5? Would you run? I mean, that depends whether he rolls big or not, but it's not so clear, right? So again, the crucial strategic rule is if you're down in the race, you want to go for a prime, because you cannot just go for racing plays when you're down in the race. You're going to lose the race. So your propensity to prime is a function of the race. The more you're down, the more you want to prime. And this is no exception. The best play here is to just go for the prime and try to block him. Another thing to notice is that we have great flexibility with the back checkers. That means that we have good chances of just making an advanced anchor next time. Let's say he rolls a good roll. Let's say he rolls like 6-1 and makes us 5 points. We still have 6-5, 6-4, 5-4 to make the 18 point. That's 6 out of 36. Then we have 3-1, 3-2, and 2-1 to make the 4 point anchor, or the 21 point anchor. That's another 6 out of 36. That's 12. That's already a third of our rolls that makes an advanced anchor next time anyway. Even just a random 4, 5, or 6 can just run out and do something, run whatever. We have a lot of good rolls, and a random ace or a random deuce can make the 22 point anchor. So we have so many rolls to make anchor next time anyway. And we don't really fear the blitz attack for green here because we have a way stronger inner board. He cannot hit loose in this position because of our strong inner board. So let's just keep our back checkers flexible and go for the priming play now. Notice how important the pip count is in these strategic decisions. It's really crucial. Okay, moving on to position number 6. Okay, so a very similar decision here. What are the differences? Well, first of all, we don't have as much flexibility with the back checkers because now we only have 2 back checkers. Also, and maybe even more importantly, look at the pip count. Now we are ahead. We're going to be up 8 pips after the move, which means that our propensity to prime is not as high anymore. Actually, our propensity to race is very high, and for that reason, we should make the 20 point. It's as simple as that. If we make the 5 point, we risk losing a priming battle. We still have an advantage in the priming battle because of our great structure, and he's still trapped all the way down here. But if he rolls well, he could form a prime, and then he has the better timing, and we will crunch first. So we don't really want to give that chance to that opportunity to the opponent here. Just kill it all immediately by making the 20 point, and the only price that you're paying here is that you're leaving 6-2, 6-4, what else? double 4, and I guess that's it. Double 2, if double 2 hits. So that's 6 out of 36 numbers that you're leaving here. But it's not a crucial price, right? Because even if he rolls like a 6-2 and comes out here and hit, look how many return shots you've got. You have 6s from the bar, you have 4s and 2s from the bar as well. So there's a ton of return shots. And who has the better inner board? We do. So we shouldn't be scared of a hitting exchange here. Again, it comes down to the race. We're ahead in the race, so we should make the racing play and be launch ready for when we roll that double 6 or double 5. Okay, position number 7. Here we go. This one is tricky. This one is tricky because all 3 plays kind of make sense here. I think the first play to that we can discard is the 5 point, because the 5 point, first of all, it's a priming play rather than a racing play, and that's not as high priority when we're up 12 pips after the move. Also, it's a passive play, which means that we're gonna give our opponent so many good developing rolls over here. Then we look at the second best play, hitting play. So this one takes away the tempo, which means that our opponent cannot develop on the next roll. Already here, I like this move better than I like the 5 point. Of course, the price you pay is that you don't get to build the rack, and you're giving some fly shots here, 5-4, which is duplicated by the way, 5-6, and then all the deuces and and 3-6, sorry, 3-6. That's 6 shots, and then all the deuces and 4s over here, which are not as bad to be hit over here. But look at the race. We're only up 28 pips. He's on the bar against a better board. I mean, again, hitting is the default play. So this is better than making the 5 point. But the best play is making the 20 point. And let's just have a look at this position here, because this is an exception to the rule of when in doubt, hit. Why is the 20 point better here? First of all, look at the race. We're up 12 pips. We're already winning the race. The marginal gain from hitting another checker is way lower when we're up 12 pips than if we're down 12 pips. So the incentive of hitting is lower. Second of all, here we are not losing the priming battle, even though we're ahead 10, 12 pips, and you could argue that we would then have worse timing. We don't, because he's still trapped all the way down here on the 24 point, on our ace point. So we are winning the priming battle here. Also, he doesn't really have any good rolls here, right? Because even if he rolls like a 6-4 and comes out and hit here, which would usually be a great shot. Look at how many return shots we have. All the deuces, 4s, and 6s from the bar, as long as we don't roll it alongside a 6. Actually, this 6 is fine. So just don't roll double 6, and we're going to hit back. So it's very safe, this play. There's no real risk involved. And also now he has a problem, right? Because he has to consolidate these 2 plots. He doesn't want to get hit when he's outboarded and give us an escaping roll with tempo. So here we just put on so much pressure on our opponent. These 2 plots here, they need to be consolidated. We put on pressure that these 2 checkers, they need to get going and build an advanced anchor. Otherwise, he's just going to get primed and lose a priming battle. So this is just all in all the best move. By the way, I had 7 out of 7 in the quiz at this point, and now my first mistake came. Position number 8. This one I found very difficult, and it's also very close. I ended up hitting, which is a small mistake, and I was really not sure about this play over the board. The thing is, our opponent is on the bar. So making the 20 point seems way too passive. So that's easy actually. Why would we make the 20 point here when he's on the bar? We have a blitz attack, and we're not only racing and priming, we also have a blitz attack going here. We have a super strong position. Actually, I think white should have doubled this position earlier, or the cube should be, and you know what, I think actually Phil Simborg had the cube up here. But it doesn't matter, it's the same play, that's the best one. So the quiz it's irrelevant for the getting the right answer. But just it's a little bit weird to have the cube in the middle in this position. Or maybe white just missed a cube. That's also fair enough. But he should have doubled and the cube should have been up here. But whatever. Okay, so we can rule out the passive play of making the, even though we're ahead in the race, I mean that indicates a racing play, right? Yeah, but he's on the bar, so we have an offense going here. We have a blitz attack, we have a prime, so don't play passive when your opponent's on the bar and is super weak. So we rule out the anger play. Now the choice between hitting and making the rack is super difficult. I chose hitting, which was a small mistake. Hitting makes complete sense in all ways. You put 2 checkers on the bar. We know that's super, super strong. So how could that be bad? Well, it's just that if we don't fill out this gap, he will have some backgame-ish type of play where he comes in and angers up and he starts to free some back checkers. He starts to develop his prime. He's going to have some chances here because our structure is not pure. If we make the 5 point on the other hand, we close the gap. And now we are sure that he's going to be down deep. I mean, not completely because he can still escape to the 7 point, but it's a whole lot more difficult. And then we can attack and try to build the 7 point. So this is way stronger from a priming point of view. And we're going to get 12 shots out here next time anyway, unless green consolidates that blood. But of course, we don't have 2 checkers on the bar. We only have 1 checker on the bar. So this is difficult. If we look at the winning percentages, we can see that the best play here comes from an increase in single wins. The gammon rate is slightly higher with the double hit, but you win more games by playing pure and making a prime. That makes sense. You win more gammons by double hitting. That also makes sense. So there's a little bit of in a match score where you're chasing the gammon, double hitting is probably going to be a little bit better, but of course it's close. So this one was difficult for me. There are good arguments for both plays. I think unless you made the 20 point, I think you did well in this position. If you did make the 20 point, then you need to correct that leak, that when your opponent is on the bar and is weak, you go for offensive plays. Okay, now we go to position number 9, and this was my second mistake in this quiz. I got 2 wrong, so there was position number 8 and position number 9 that I got wrong. Here, okay, so this one is difficult. So let's see what's going on. Well, we're up 5 pips before the race, before the roll. Okay, so we like racing plays actually. That's a good argument for just making the 20 point. We can also hit, which is usually the default play, right? So that's got to be a contender as well. And we could make the 5 point, but I ruled that play out, correctly so. It's the 3rd best play because it's too passive. So let's have a look at how the resulting position looks. Here we go. Look at this builder here on the 9 point of green. This gives all of the rolls for green to become a developing roll, except for 3-2 and 5-1. Those are the 2 only rolls that doesn't develop something. Like 4-1 is great, 6-2 makes the bar, 6-3 makes the 3 point, 4-3 makes the... I mean, all of his rolls are good here, except for 3-2 and 5-1. When he has that builder on his 9 point. So that's one problem. It's passive. Another problem is that he's established a 23 point anger. So he's not as deeply trapped as he was before on the 24 point anger. This means that our priming alternative is not quite as strong. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're still priming him very heavily here, that anger against our prime, but it's not as powerful as if these 2 checkers were on the ace point. So that's kind of like a contradicting thing here, right? Well, I'm trying to compare the priming alternatives versus the racing alternatives. And my point was that the racing alternatives comes out ahead of the priming play here. Also because, look at the alternative. If we make the racing play, we still have good chances of priming. We have great efficiency with our checkers here, great flexibility. Unless we get hit, which we will be with 5-2, 5-4, 1-6, 3-6, and 3-4. So that's, how many was that? Was it 10 or 12 hitting numbers? That's quite a few. But if he comes out and hit, let's say he rolls a 5-4, we're gonna have a ton of return shots. We can hit with a 4, with a 9, and with a deuce. So it's not as scary. It's not as dangerous. So the alternative here is that we're probably gonna make the prime anyway. While if we make the prime, we're probably not gonna make the 20 point. That's difficult. We have to roll 4-3. So the 20 point dominates the 5 point here in this position. But how do we figure out whether hitting is better? How do we figure that out? Okay, so we're already way up in the race. Now we are basically gin in the race unless he makes a hitting play and catches up. He does have some good rolls here. 5-4, 5-6. 5-4 is duplicated, by the way, because he can also hit here. 3-6 and 3-5. Oh, and 5-3, because that makes the golden point. That's also a good roll for him. So he has a handful of good dice numbers here. Probably like 10 or 12 out of 36. But the race is very much in our favor. Even if we get hit, let's say he rolls like a 3-4. He comes in and he hits. We're still going to be up in the race. We're still going to be up in the race like how many? 15 pips or something like this. Even more. 12 pips. We're going to be up 12 pips. So we can still retain our advantage even if we get hit on the 16 point. Furthermore, of course, we got the better board. When he has an anger. Oh yeah, let me show you some variations here. That's also good. Let's have a look at our opponent being on the on our ace point. This should increase our propensity to prime because now we can prime him even more. So let's see here. Okay, look how close this play becomes. It becomes a draw between the defensive racing play and the priming play. And still hitting is slightly better. But look how close these three plays are. What if we put him up on the 3 point instead? Let's have a look. Now hitting is clearly better because our priming game is not as effective against a 3 point anger. It's not really a deep anger anymore. What if it was on the 5 point? Of course, now you can't make the 5 point, but of course you should hit now. Now it's like demanding play to hit because now it's more of a mutual holding game and you want to gain the race advantage. What if he was out here? I mean, this is like obviously you hit because you want to gain a racing advantage. What if he's all the way out here? I mean, now we're in a defined position. Now he's actually just trapping us. He has full freedom. So now, of course, we hit. You know, anything but hit would be a dramatic blunder, right? It's obvious. But you can see, like, the more freedom our opponent gets, the more we want to hit and gain a racing advantage because the less effective our priming game plan is. When he's trapped deep, our priming game plan is very effective. Notice also that in this variant where he has the ace point, the anchor making play is a great candidate. It's just 18 millipoints. This is also a good priming battle play because we're trapping him and he's not trapping us. So even though we have worse timing because we're ahead 14 pips, we have a big advantage in a priming battle here. So sometimes that also, it can even be an offensive move to make a more advanced anchor in a priming battle because you can just win passively by having your opponent crunch first. But this one was very tricky for me. That hitting is the best play. I got this one wrong. I made, oh, this is not the original position. Here we go. This is the original position. Oh. I made the anchor play here. But you're just supposed to hit. Just supposed to hit. Okay, let's move on to position number 10. This one was funny because this one was a little bit different. Here the best play is not to make the 5, it's not to make the 20, but it's to make the 9 and to hit loose. So what's going on here? Okay, so first let's start with the worst of the candidates. That's basically making the 20 point here. That's a very passive move and we leave a direct shot. So already we should discount that move. We don't want to leave direct shots when the race is close. The second best move, making the 5 point. This is a strong alternative. We build the rack. We build a super powerful structure. What are the problems? Well, our opponent has daylight, right? He can just run away with a 6. And that would be annoying because he's up in the race and we're still trapped. So we don't like that to happen either. Also, if he doesn't roll a 6 or 4 or whatever, a running number, look how well distributed his spare checkers are. He's super flexible, so he can just build his prime instead with the rest of the numbers. The worst ones would be his escaping numbers, like a 4-5, 6-3, or a 6-5, where he comes down here and he doesn't get hit, because now he achieved full freedom and he's trapping us in a defined state position. So the passive play here is just you should kind of identify the danger of allowing your opponent to escape, or allowing your opponent to just freely develop his position. Let's have a look at the best play. So the best play is this play. Let's look at the resulting position. This one, I mean, I actually found it quite easy to find this play, but I can definitely understand if this position wasn't easy for you. We hit loose, which pacify our opponent's single checker. That's actually a very common maneuver when your opponent has one man back and he's threatening to escape. Then we're more aggressive because we don't want to give him those escaping rolls. We fight to keep him trapped. Furthermore, we take away half his roll, so he's not going to be developing when we put him on the bar. So he's not escaping, he's not developing. That's a whole lot of great rolls we just removed from our opponent. What's the price? Well, he gets a direct shot. We don't want to get hit, but that's like 11 plus double 1 plus 2-1. That's 14 rolls out of 36. That's just the price we pay. And you could even ask yourself, what's worse in the original position if our opponent escapes the back checker and gets full freedom, or in the resulting position here that he hits from the bar with let's say like a 3-1 and he has to play like this? What's better actually? I mean, maybe it's not even that big of a price to pay because it's very difficult for him to hit and do something constructive as well. And if he hit, he's still going to be trapped in our front position. Notice also the 9 point is very nice here, because if he comes in with a 3, we have we're blocking his 6s, and it's even attacking and cover numbers as well. So the 9 point is very nice here with the open and slotted 3 point. Yeah, guys, that's it for me. That's my analysis. I'm looking forward to see in the comment section how many correct answers that you got. Please leave a comment. If you have anything to add, or if you disagree, or if there was something I overlooked in the analysis of the 10 positions, please let me know in the comments as well. If not, thank you all for watching, for making this far. I hope you did well in the quiz. If not, then you have some studying to do, and I think this was great study material. I hope that you liked the analysis. Remember to like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot to grow the channel. Follow us on Instagram, my personal Instagram, Marc Olsen 10, Backgammon Galaxy, and of course our Facebook page and our Facebook pages like Backgammon Strategy, Backgammon Memes, Backgammon News. It's great Facebook groups to be a member of. That's all for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did get 8 or more out of 10, well done. Very well done. If you got less, don't be too hard on yourself. It's just good study material. Okay, guys, take care. See you later. Bye.
BackgammonGalaxy.com